Welcome to Talmudic Treasures. Today we're learning Chagigah, page 27, where we find a verse which describes a Mizbayach, an altar, and it discusses its dimensions. But what's fascinating is at the end of the sentence, it no longer calls it a Mizbayach, an altar, but instead a shulchan, a table. The question is, what are we referring to? A Mizbayach is something which is in the time of the Beit HaMikdash, in which people would bring various sacrifices. They'd bring offerings on an altar, on a Mizbayach. So why is it called a shulchan? Why is it also called a table? So in this, the Talmud tells us something very profound. It says that in the time of the temple, if a person wanted to be able to achieve atonement and forgiveness, you would bring sacrifices on an altar. However, now, without the temple, now without a Mizbayach, there's no altar, so how can one achieve forgiveness and atonement? On this, the Talmud says that Achshav shulchano shel adam mechaper olav. Now, your table is a way that you can achieve forgiveness. What does that mean? So on this, Rashi explains that you have an opportunity to do something called hachnasas orchem. Namely, you can invite guests and bring them to your table. So when a person eats, it's so important that we have manners, because when a person eats, you could look at it just like an animal that you eat in order just to be able to get full. And therefore, you could eat with your hands and be messy. But you could also take your eating habits and elevate yourself to a higher status. And that's the reason why, when it comes to having proper etiquette and manners, it's so much surrounded around food, because it's so important for us to elevate how we eat and our behavior. And it's very often shown at the dinner table. And this is what it's come to tell us, that one is able to take their simple meal, their simple dinner, and elevate that to a higher level, comparable to that of when you brought sacrifices. And one way of doing that is bringing people to your home and helping them and being hospitable and being giving. And when a person does these things, you're able to achieve forgiveness, because the notion of bringing sacrifices is by giving up of something of yourself. So too, when it comes to at your table, by inviting other people and helping them, that is a way that you also will be able to grow and achieve forgiveness.